Morning everybody, John McCracken here, the lone biker. Now I've got the good bike out this morning even though it's raining. Why? Because today I need to go fast because I'm doing a time trial. For those of you that don't know, a TT, a time trial, is a type of road cycling race. Although Loudoun Road Club, we have a couple of versions that are off-road. But essentially, you're not racing in a big bunch all together like you would see in the Tour de France. Each rider goes off at 1 or 2 minute intervals and you are racing against the clock. And again, the person with the fastest time on the course is the winner. Now why do they do it? Well, it is called, famously, the time trial, the race of truth. Because in a bunch race, people can hide in the pack, they can shelter in the slipstream of their teammates. This way, it's just you against the road and the elements, and today's elements is quite a stiff westerly wind, so for part of today's course we'll have a big help, but for the finish of today's course it'll be right in our face. So I'd like to say that's going to be fun, but it probably won't. There's a few wee challenging hills in today's course as well, but as always at our club events, the camaraderie at the end and the beginning is always worth it. Anyway, I'll check back in with you in a wee bit. I'm cycling over because that's as good a warm-up as you can get. So I've got about a 10-mile cycle to the start, and that gets the legs nice and warm. And I get to look at this beautiful countryside. There's a wee windmill. There's a fight to talk and be heard over the wind telling you, yes, it's a nice westerly wind today. So that'll be fun, heading along the first side of the time trial. Not so much fun heading back. Heading downhill into Sorn, just past Sorn Castle on my right, and this is where the time trial is going to start. If you did Dervelo, you'll maybe recognise this hill. I believe you were doing it the other way, coming up it, which is not as much fun. At the start, most time trials have, if you go to an event, will have somebody starting you a specific start point and a specific time, and a timekeeper at the end taking a note of the times. Because this is our club championship, we don't really, everybody that wants to be involved doesn't want to stand by a clock. So what we do is we pick a segment on Strava, or we make a segment on Strava for the route we want to do, and at the end of the ride everybody collates that time on Strava, and that's our evidence for a time, and it works pretty well. Now today is actually the club championships. Now let's kind of explain what happened, because we've got quite a few events and they all count towards the greater club championship, like a league table. Today's event will get you points towards that, but today's event was also a standalone club championship, which we've had for many years. In fact, in 2017 I won it when it was a more handicapped event, which meant your times were handicapped, much the same as golfers have a handicap. I then held on to that trophy for nearly 5 or 6 years because we didn't have it again until we reorganised the club. So I might be the longest holder, even though I only won it once. But I've got my segment loaded up. We're starting here in Sorn. Our segment is called the Cronbury Circuit, and I'll put a wee link in the description so you can maybe have a look at it. Simply because it passes through an old miners' row called Cronbury at about the halfway mark. Anyway, I've got everything loaded up. I'll have my segment on my wahoo, I starred it in Strava so that when I'm out riding it comes up on the computer. I think other computers, headset units do the same thing too. But that should let me know how I'm doing. I think my best time's around 53 minutes. So if I can beat that today, I'll be happy, and we'll just see at the end how we get on. Anyway, I will try to talk to camera as much as I can, but you'll bear with me because I am on a time trial and talking might be quite difficult, especially at the start because we start up 2 hills. Anyway, let's get this road in the show. Well, that's a bit of a downer. Just had to abort that effort at the time trial because my crank on my group set, on my crank set, the non-drive side slipped off. So that's kind of curtailed this effort. I might go round and try it again though. Right, I've had a mechanical, I've come back to the start. Everybody's here and told me how horrible it is in the second half, so I've got that to look forward to as well, so fun times. I think Darren is the time to beat so far. Darren, what was your time?
49.12 I think.
49.12, there you go. I'll be lucky if I do it in 49 weeks. Right, let's give this a go. Right, take 2. Well, about done, and we're back at the bench. Completed in a time of 55 minutes something, so a good 6 minutes off Darren, who also won it last year. Darren's a triathlete, so usually his cycles have a swim before them and a run after them. So he's able to put all his energy into cycling today. That just shows you the difference wind can make, because in the first half of that ride, I was a minute and a half up on my personal record, and as soon as I turned into the wind when I finished there, it was 2 minutes down on my personal record. So that wind today was more of a disadvantage than an advantage. It felt like swimming through treacle at the end there. But it's finished now, and I can now go back to a leisurely pace. I just have the climb out of Sorn to do and all the way back to Darvel. But I'll check in with you at the end when we get back to the Lego lounge. So I've stopped here at one of my favourite viewing points, and I'll turn the camera around and show you in a minute. But I thought I'd just do my final epilogue out on the road today. That was good fun. I had a wee bit of a mechanical, but you know, the informal nature of our cycling events means you can post a time up to 5 o'clock in the day. For this one in particular, so I just cycled back to the beginning once I knew I was okay and started again. Now, what I would say is, this is one of the great things about joining a club. You get to do informal events like this, and it means if you ever come to do an actual event, you've had a wee bit of practice. One thing I would say as well is, if you are in a club and people are taking the time and effort to organise things like this, go and give it a go. Nobody cares where you finish. except from yourself. So nobody's going to make fun of you if you're ranked last. Nobody's going to blow too much smoke up your backside if you're first. But go and get involved, because as one of the organisers of events, we just want to see people there, and it actually makes you feel part of the club. And of all the social rides we've done, the TTs that we do tend to end up more social than anything else we do, because everybody's there, everybody's got something to talk about. So support your club that you're in. Be going and taking part in these wee things, and as I say, you don't need to be the best, just go and give them a go. In fact, in our ladies section today, somebody's coming to do it later in the day, and no matter what time they do it in, they'll probably get some points for the club championship, and it gives you a wee bit of personal kudos, which is nice. So have a go. What can happen? What can go wrong? Oh, apart from a mechanical. Anyway, I'm going to show you this view. That's Aaron away out in the background. We've got the whole of Ayrshire laid before us, and the mountains over there are Clyde-Muirshiel National Park, which I might cycle through during the summer and give you a wee tour of. Anyway, I'm going to sign out for now. I'm going to drop this video probably a few days after I've put it together. I'm off on holiday to rest the legs for a wee while and catch some Mediterranean sun. I'll take the camera. Who knows if there'll be any pedalling adventures. But until next time, remember those 3 important things. Like, subscribe, and get out and ride. Cheers.